All right. Let us, we've got tourney in 16. I'm really excited to, to talk about it because it feeds into the Mechabellum Launch Clash Tournament. If you guys have not heard, the link is at the top of the chat. Go look. No. The Mechabellum Launch Clash Tournament is a 32-player tournament on the 5th of October with a $1,000 prize pool. Half of that exactly goes to first place. The remainder is split across the top four. There is a qualifying tournament on September 26th. The way to sign up for that qualifying tournament is in the chat as well. And if you're spotting all of this on YouTube, it'll be below the video. The Launch Clash Tournament is going to be single elimination. The qualifying routes, well, there are 3 ways in. Of the 32 slots, 8 were given to players who are invited by either Green River, the China development team headed by Bearlike, or by Paradox Arc, which are the publisher. Obviously, you guys know a bunch of these names. They're going to be folks like Sacco and Play Archer, folks like that. They're not weak, right? Illuminati's one of them. Arbiter was on that invite list and had to decline because he has a prior engagement that weekend. Second set is the folk that are able to qualify via weekend tournament. So these are these weekend tournaments coming up. They matter, right? If you go all the way back to it's week 66. The what is this? You are the Flower Fairy of Pengliu is the name of this player. So you win 2 weekend tournaments, any 2 weekend tournaments between week 63 and 73, and you are in, as you can see, Flower Fairy of Pengliu. Despite changing avatars, won a second one this week and hadn't been showing up for tournaments, right? Shows up because there's a qualification route announced. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Shows up and, beat Jota, Measim, Dillo, and Galaxians on the way to the title. So it was a stacked field. It was an amazing field. The turnout we had for the tournament week Asia was tremendous. The tournament week European was even stronger, with Apooche winning. Here we go. So that list includes Dillo, Starcraft Panda, Cody, Dzemp, Rice, BechaMellum, The Conclusion, Woot, and so it's Napping is the one that has added themselves to the list. But that's the stakes. Those folks can directly qualify if they win. Mechabellum is life. Everyone is grinding. There is, and like, to be clear, guys, also don't burn yourself out, because there's going to be a lot of excitement. There's a lot of new stuff coming in patch 1.0 that I think you guys will be excited about. I can't tell you about any of it because it's in under NDA, but there's some balance patches that are coming. There's some changes that I've wanted to see coming. There's some tournament stuff coming. There is some what is the other bit? Well, I don't think I can describe the other bit without. Oh, and there's optimizations and art fixes and all of that you guys kind of knew.
Right.
Yeah, it's a big patch. It looks really good. I am pumped. Speaking of pumped, ladies and gentlemen, start your sledgehammers. Let's go. BechaMellum is a weekend tournament winner already, halfway to qualifying. Their round 1 is B-Man.
Okay.
Round 1. Former tournament winner. Let's go. Because the 41st seed and the 2nd seed are that strong in this tournament. E-Station Shark Rookie.
Let's go. That's funny.
Welcome to round 1 of a weekend tournament, America's number 71, where BechaMellum begins their quest to qualify for the Mechabellum Launch Clash Tournament. They're halfway there with 1 weekend tournament win already. 41st seed here. They draw number 2 seed B-Man, famous streamer on Bilibili, longtime player of the game, number 2 seed in the tournament. B-Man, always gentleman to the 501 players, has a reputation as one of the real sportsmen in the game. Is a marksman.
Very classy.
Yeah, very classy individual. Is a marksman specialist with sledgehammer fangs, puts the fangs behind tower a lot like I do. I like to do this myself with Stormcaller starting pack. And BechaMellum, Farseer specialist, 5 crawler chaff start, and Stormcallers. What do you see?
Very greedy start from B-Man, but not punished at all. With this storm opening and a bunch of backline crawlers, ultimately the late fangs are exactly where you would want them to be by the time the fighting starts. So Storm is going to be strong for this first round and possibly gets the win outright. But I really like the board shape for B-Man in this particular engagement already. Greedy deploy and not punished at all.
I mean, those fangs do come under the storms as they're trying to approach towers. There's not going to be many of them left, and BechaMellum actually wins on the right. There's one. The right was B-Man's strong side. Right then. Theoretically, because he had one more fang over there. B-Man wins on the left.
Storms.
Yeah, storms will be drunk. They shoot random volleys. They pick a target. They land somewhere in it. So BechaMellum wins with a single storm surviving, B-Man on 4350. BechaMellum's starting pack had only 3600 hit points, so also kind of greedy and not punished by a round 1 deploy that hurts. Both players took the heavy armor plus 80% hit points to a unit. B-Man just puts it immediately on the sledges that he can level. Obviously, he's going to be able to sell out of those to go to a giant at some point if he wants. Has Orange Man arrive, backing it up, and just put the two of them together with the level 1 marksman and level 1 sledge on the other side. Deep crawler
that
coming
sledge
up
pack,
the
by the
middle.
way, has 60,000 HP right now.
Woof. 60,000.
Each one of those guys has 12,000 apiece.
Yeah, 12.5. Very nice. That actually changes the breakpoint on Scorpion, right? So your level 1 Scorpion does 10,000 damage, not enough to clear that pack in a single volley, so it's going to be sitting on the 4.5 second reloads.
Also going to bully the Stormcaller on that side as a screen for Orange Man, because they just won't die.
Right. Only problem is Orange Man is a little bit faster at 8 meters per second. They only move at 7 meters per second, so be sure not to range them before you range Orange Man. So you get volleys like that, right?
Right.
As you called out, B-Man winning on the left. BechaMellum will win on the right. Gets to engage Orange Man during tower debuff, but basically nothing is killing these storms. Or the sledges. They're going to go get tower. They're going to come clean up, and they're halfway to level 3.
And they're all about tempo. They're a thorn that has to be answered, because if you let them scale out of control, they're a problem. But as soon as you answer them, you can liquidate them for almost 100% of that value back.
And you've got the item to drop on your giant, right? Yep, here's the answer. Sabertooth with double shot.
Immediate double tap.
Obviously, the Vulcan drop for B-Man, perfect for a standard v standard game.
Yeah.
BechaMellum alerts to that, right? Drops a Sabertooth out on the right side, drops one on the left to face the sledges. Puts the Farseer very far forward.
Yeah, this whole deployment is super forward in a way that I think is very dangerous, because you have absolutely no chaff even on the front half of your board for the most part.
Right. I mean, I want the Farseer back here. I want the Sabertooth a little bit further back with range, rather than this super aggressive positioning.
I mean, you have a pair of fangs up front like that, but that's not going to last very long, especially the horizontal deployment like that. B-Man doesn't care about this round or the next round. They are setting up for an invincible board that basically establishes itself on round 6. And their opponent is not really slowing that down or punishing it.
Well, B-Man is achieving tempo plays, right? Winning 4350 to 3450 because of BechaMellum's low starting hit points, and is just not going to get. There's no. Unless BechaMellum can turn this around, they're going to be in a lot of trouble, and this might be a very short match.
Because the Saber Teeth are more about a tempo play. They're
Right.
high value the turn you get them. And if you're not like really winning with them, because like right now I would expect if you told me one player had, you know, Tech Sabertooth and 3 of them, then they should be winning, and they will win this round.
Right.
But they are in a dangerous position long term.
Well, that stabilizes for the moment. B-Man down to 3,000 hit points. BechaMellum on 3,400. BechaMellum is not a Smurf, by the way. Came up, player that came up through the ranks, won a weekend rookie tournament, turned around and performed decently well at the Advanced Group 1 the following week, and has turned themselves into a tournament winner.
And you get finish attacks before you take a single one for B-Man. This basically tells Becca that they're on like a 3-turn clock. This game is almost out of reach. Is the way I see it.
Becca's answer right now is front storms, trying to get some damaged landing much deeper onto the board.
Right.
Fourth Saber outside of the Vulcan. This one died early because, again, it didn't have the protection, and that's partly because there's none of that mid-early chaff, the crawlers that would be in this area. That would be the chaff that's needed.
And this oil is to slow things down and clump them up under the double storms that were added so that you can just pound from a range.
Right, we're not planning on setting that on fire, we're just going to sit here and hit you.
And you might set it on fire next turn with a Vulcan. An enormous value the clumping
Right.
this round.
The new Sabertooth did its job, it killed the Vulcan. So, unit did what it was supposed to before it died. But you can see how strong the oil has been. That whole side is just losing. I mean, obviously it's behind the two packs worth of Stormcallers and behind Orange Man.
Right.
B-Man wins that side hard enough that he gets stuck in the oil. That might not have been the original plan, but it's enough to win the round.
If you win that side enough that you walk into your own oil there and you're playing a range war, that's a good sign.
Yeah. Yes, if your storms have made it up to there in a range war, you're doing very well.
Right. Ooh, and now you have the enhanced module for B-Man to sell out of that sledgehammer.
Yeah, there's a sledge pack there to level and sell out of. Gosh. Would you stop spying on the man? He just wants to play the game, type.
He might keep it for a round because he doesn't have anything waiting for a level, so selling it now gives it the off chance of potentially giving it another level first.
Right. If he
But
was
that
gonna
will be sold next round.
Yeah, if he was gonna stonk storms and then rebuy them for the 50, he might have sold this and moved them over, and then he can just bump back and forth between these two. But not that greedy. These guys do actually tank shots from this Sabertooth, and they at level 2, they're 8,300 hit points, so they're actually going to take the double shot, double tap to kill. No, he does sell them.
Does immediately sell. Okay,
Yeah.
I was curious. Does he level the storm then? And he also loaned for this, so I'll be curious to see where that enhanced module goes. And surely you at least get the level value on a storm color.
Or you're floating it to level 1 of the Vulcans. You could drop it here.
Well, I mean, the idea would be you would sell the storm once
Yeah.
the Vulcan levels to pull it
Yeah,
over,
yeah.
and there it is.
And then you rebuy this, the extra deploy, and rebuying it only costs you 50. No biggie. The Vulcans are ranged, that torches the front fire, the front oil immediately, which all but all but hits the storms. Yoicks.
Right. And that Vulcan does get the kill on that last Sabertooth before it goes down to the Stormcaller fire. very valuable for the extra experience and not a sliver of leveling on the other side. It also levels now. This is where I said on round 6, if Becha didn't turn this around, it was going to stabilize to a point of absolute disaster, and they're actually losing a round before that.
Yoicks. They're down to 2,100. E-Man at 3,000. Update from one of the other big rounds. A remote control crabs versus Dzemp, I believe, is that match. Round 2, mass-produced wasps. Both of them took, and crabs is into stangs. No Vulcans yet because there are so many wasps. Just a lot of storms. Over here, BechaMellum's answer is a level 2 fort as through the drop. Adds a pair of level 1 forts. Gonna try to put this level 2 fort right up on the line to bully the Vulcan, get it to insta-lock, prevent things from clearing.
I actually like the fact that you keep your level 2 Stormcaller, because that enhanced module is going to mean that the storms are doing like 20,000 DPS now, roughly speaking. 16 to 2,000 damage rockets, and that's really going to help you through any giants that show up, because you don't really have great giant clearing potential on B-Man's board just yet until you get elite on those marksmen.
Swaps into high explosive ammo for the storms.
Interesting.
Loaned for that. So
that's bizarre to me. With 3 Vulcans on the field and 2 Typhoons, I would want my storms doing concentrated fire damage.
And
I don't mean fire early, but like concentrated DPS.
Right, and since they're stuck on the same fort that the Vulcan is, BechaMellum's whole left side gets to do work. The whole side is alive doing work here. That's completely
they may still win
changed
this round.
the left.
I'm just so surprised about the splash.
Yeah. B-Man's unit drop was the Typhoons. And it is going to win the round with 2 giants surviving.
Sure. And a smattering of extra damage.
Right. Drops BechaMellum down to 600 hit points. And B-Man on the road to victory, it would appear. Skip for
B-Man's feeling
BechaMellum.
greedy, you can take efficient, otherwise sticky, I think, is super strong here.
You take the oil, you put it out in front, you light it on fire. BechaMellum adds 2 forts in the shield barrier, so 1,300 in spending there. Fort shield barrier. That is most of the 1,400 that was available. Took the loan already, has spent the loan already on level ups.
Acid crawlers, interesting. There's not great crawler clear. It might get to the ports, I don't know. If they do, absolutely just get melted.
Right.
Because any damage incoming being multiplied is going to just utterly destroy them.
They are just really good, Squish. They are just really good. And you can see this. A Smurf of somebody really high level wouldn't be making some of the little mistakes, some of the positional mistakes, things like I have a heavy armor on this back row Farseer and I haven't sold. I haven't even unlocked Cell to fix this. Right? I can put that heavy armor so many other valuable places so much earlier in this game.
One thing I do like about what BechaMellum did, though, they pivoted to try and play forward to punish the back deployments.
Right.
That's kind of tried to position into. They double-tech Sabretooth, and I think that was a huge mistake. That's just so much resource that you want in your fort, because if those techs and forts were sabers were sold, their forts can win this. But they have 2 fortress units that are splitting their techs and levels, essentially.
Right, rather than having one super carry unit. And
exactly.
I do think, once they had committed into the double tap and had bought more sabers, I think that giving them range was the correct choice to get the most out of that unit. But
right,
having gotten themselves to that point, right? BechaMellum 1498 MMR. Gets beaten by one of the greats of the game, one of the legends of the game, B-Man. So BechaMellum will not be booking a place in the Mechabellum Launch Clash tournament. All right, going around the room, because we have a pretty impressive room. Some of the favorites with early wins: Apooche defending European champion, trying to get the double today as the #1 seed here, is route around 2 with a win. Dillo, we saw win Dzemp. Dzemp beats the remote control crab. Cody, playing under the name Mualani, is through. Ryder live with the solid upset win against Illuminati. Very nicely done. Of course, Illuminati is already in that tournament, in the Mechabellum Launch Clash tournament.
Right.
So, not that he's not trying, just it doesn't hurt quite as badly. Huania of Ngui beats Mike Tyson. So we have attracted some of the stronger 201 players. This is the Advanced Group 1 runner-up from week 71, getting up a little bit earlier into their day to try and book a spot in the tournament. Sunnyside, we know, with a win. Hots with a upset against Yeswinbig. Well played. Hots had a great tournament in Europe as well, was playing this at a pretty high level, and currently wearing the number 13 badge from this tournament last week. Louis Smart beat Sparty. We have Single True with the win against Huiberg. Cheeseburglar over Odyssey. Squish wins against T-Man. That's a nice win for Squish. Zillilag.
Nice.
Cursed beat Endozoa. This would have been a really good match. As you can see, comes down very close. Measim beats Goff. Dachshund, already in that tournament by virtue of winning twice on week 65. Rice is one of the candidates to advance with a win in this tournament. Crossfit, one of the candidates to advance with a win in this tournament. Ooh. Osho pushed Steel Sane to 46 hit points. What a heck of a run. Osho, you should be super proud of that. That is tough to do. Rooster beats ChatGPT Classic Post, and we saw B-Man beat BechaMellum. The rest of the gang: Daitong, the TRC, Morbidly Obese, P. Platypus, Blautok, Hopsky, Barrels of Bananas, Shade. I see why I have that name blocked. Malvortex, Blunted Baboon, Echo 1121, Darrow, Linz, Wade D, Felix D, and Johnny McBanjo. Top loser versus the #1 seed. It often is. That'll be Apooche versus Yeswinbig.
That is a missile per round instead of 100 to 200 a round.
Right.
Each.
Right.
Anyway.
Welcome to round 2 of Weekend Tournament America's number 71. Apooche, Nearside Blue, looking to do the double after winning in Europe earlier today. Yeswinbig, Farside Red. When I did that tournament preceding, Yeswinbig, who, to be fair, we coached here on this channel, I am slightly partial to both of these players because Apooche, of course, is our teammate on
Melter.
Teammate on Team Melter.
For the Trickster.
Team Melter for the Trickster. We're just gonna throw that down for Yeswinbig there. Just a little.
You have a soft spot for both players.
I do have a soft spot for both players. I really do. Anyway, what I was gonna say was I was looking. He is well over 2,000 MMR and was closing in on top 100 world after getting some coaching on this channel. So we did good work. Yeswinbig is a saber-tooth specialist coming out with Steel Ball and Fang, or Steel Ball and Arclight with adding a pair of Fangs. Fangs are kind of interesting. You might expect somebody to go with Crawlers. He's also cut off or appears, I should say, to have cut off the War Factory, but if you note, all he has to do is sell that one Fang, and there's a 7x7 right there. Okay? So he's not cut it off as badly as it looks like. Might be trying to get Apooche to think that he has. But he also
Right.
doesn't have the crawlers coming. Apooche near side is an elite specialist with 5 crawlers, including the level 2s coming from deep, white up front, blue behind. And the idea there is hopefully if you can do some damage to the chaff clear, you're not going to let the chaff clear just feed levels on the chaff. It did not work here. Arclights do get the job done eventually. Yeah, the tarantulas are going to have a good day. Left side, Apooche should win. Right side, I think 2 Arclights beat 1 tarantula. You can see the difference in rate of fire. You can see the difference in rate of fire. The tarantula fires every 0.6 seconds. The Arclight fires every 0.9. And it turns out 1 tarantula does beat 2 Arclights. Unit drop on round 2.
And Badger.
Yeah.
Those are all really good. Poor Rhino is left in the dirt, I think, comparatively. Now, Yeswinbig gets a saber by default, so keeping that in mind, I think he really wants the marksman to accompany as a frontline ground snipe.
Apooche takes the Phoenix as a counter to the saber, and, oh, by the way, it'll work against the Rhino and the Fire Badger. It's not the greatest against the marksman, but Apooche likes the Phoenix anyways. So, I mean, we know he plays them well. And does go instantly into buying a second one of them, so he's got 2 level 2 Phoenix. Cannot tell from Yeswinbig's formation where the Sabertooth was going to be. And yes, Yeswinbig does take 2 marksmen, and has the drop, an Arclight, and a crawler. So he has the fangs off the front line. Now he's got his crawlers on the front line.
Yep.
That will pull Apooche's chaff away from your Arclights in a way, but that's why he's got the 4th Arclight here. Now it's pulling right into the Arclights on both sides. Apooche, really good positioning. The Phoenix will go pretty much straight to the Sabertooth and Steel Balls and Arclights, so the Phoenix are going to do great work.
Well, they were also positioned where
the
Steel Balls would have funneled into the birds one at a time. That was the probable shape of that, and then of course it also goes naturally into the in parallel.
Right.
And those fangs, if you'll notice, are actually doing the perfect job of pulling the carry units into shooting them and protecting the Arclights. That's actually really fascinating the way he creates
that. Neat.
Bit of grip.
That was really neat to see.
Was exceptional play.
Now, one of the really cool things that Yeswinbig is doing is using a battlefield technology to show the top-down view, right? You can get a very top-down view like this, right? And he'll get a recording of this top-down view of every round of a match, and then playing it concurrently over and over, so he can watch, like, okay, let me look at round 3 in fast motion. So instead of seeing it in this slow motion, which kind of allows your eye to focus on hyper engagements, he'll look back at the overall shape of the board.
Board shape.
How did this work? How did this work? How did he break through over here? And then, if he needs to, he can go back and rewatch. Okay, in round 4, he broke through over here. How did he do it? Right, and then zoom back into those narrower angles and really pay attention to it. And I think that is a fascinating thing that he's done, and it's part of the reason he's climbed from, 1,200 6 weeks ago to well over 2,000 right now.
What's interesting is there was a diagonal line that was created, the fangs through the steel balls through the crawlers. And that's why the enemy units followed that chain of units off to the side instead of engaging the Arclight, Sabertooth, and the marksman.
Right. Mr. Krieger, it is, the sound, audio is a little bit cursed. We've got, let's call it, professional quality recording equipment on one side and not on the other. So you get this kind of oddball, tinny, and Titan goes in and out a little bit, and then we're running him through a compressor, so you guys should be hearing him a little bit closer to neutralized, but it's still not perfect. I did the best that I could. I'll listen to this video and edit it back in. I want to get it dialed into shape before the Launch Clash tournament.
100%, and I'll work with you to make sure we can try and test around with that.
Right, because that set was perfect, and I have no idea what's changed. And you say that you haven't changed your, you're not putting a hand in front of your mouth. You're not putting something between you and the mic. I know you've done plenty of microphone work in your speech and debate days, so you know all the tricks and tips. So there's got to be something oddball happening with hardware or stream, one or the other, and we do need to get that sorted before the final. So thank you for bringing it up, Mr. Krieger. I'm glad to know that it's cursed ahead of time, so I know to go back and listen to this as soon as I can and figure out what settings I can change on it.
Efficient Giant is so strong here.
Yeah.
But I think it might be a little greedy. But if you're Apooche, I think it's the right pick.
He takes Vulcan's Descent. There is a wide open back line back there. And look at this. Yeswinbig going to range on the Arclights does run the full carry tags. So does this pivot to a carry Arclight aggro?
I hope not into birds, because elite birds are one of the most dangerous things to a carry Arclight.
Mm-hmm. He's got range,
and
launcher, charge, shot.
The crawlers.
Look at this pack. Look at the options on Apooche's board for the Phoenix. That's not perfect for stopping a carry Arclight build. It's a little rough.
There's no elite. He has both DPS options on the bar. On the bar. But you'd never take both, because their range would be absolutely silly small.
Right.
But they would also be like Phoenix miniguns.
Right. Pew, 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 pew. We come right up front and we destroy everything. Look at this pull. There's not going to be any late chaff for Yeswinbig. That drop is just beautiful from Apooche. And this is...
but I do wonder if it was worth it, because there's not a huge amount of damage being translated, and they're like an Efficient Giant
That's...
an absolute huge swing.
Right, and the fact that he lost... Oh no, he did not lose the Phoenix. They're just angled weirdly. Okay. So he does a whole bunch of damage from 8 surviving packs of Phoenix, 3 surviving Tarantulas, and the Giant. So Yeswinbig is down to 1872 after round 5. In a lot of tempo trouble, and not where you want to be as the aggro player. We get the unit drop. Yeswinbig drops the Farseers. Has a pair of them. I love Farseer in aggro. Yeswinbig knows that, but they're really best at following the Steel Ball Crawler push, not following other things. Now, this is a good use of them, a really good use of them. Putting them in the old Mustang flank screening position, so that you're covering both the flank Phoenix, flank Wasp, and the rarely seen flank Wraith.
Right. When you get a double Wraith drop, it's very common to sell one flank with the other for a temporary value play. So I think that the positioning on these Farseers makes sense. There's also Elite Sabertooth here, which does really well to answer the Tarantulas, but dies to the birds. So the question becomes, can Apooche clear the crawlers? If so, then he wins this hard, because there's just not enough anti-air to take out leveled Phoenix.
Right.
So it's a race for his chaff. And he took the spread formation on his crawlers. That's going to be absolutely brutal.
Yeah, that might just be the finish. The Farseer does answer the outside flank Wraith, of course. The Arclights do eventually get the job done.
And Apooche doesn't have enough chaff clear. That was what I was worried about.
Right.
At least to close it out.
Yeah, no, not going to be able to close it out. The Farseer is actually coming through pretty clutch with the way that the missiles spread. They can actually hit both Phoenix in a pack with that 8-meter spread, 8-meter splash. So it can be pretty solid. Crawlers get the tower. They can't finish off the Phoenix. They look impotently up.
Once Apooche gets a proper chaff clear, Yeswinbig's in real big trouble, I think.
All right. 1772 now for Yeswinbig. 4,600 still for Apooche.
Here's where Apooche could have had his second efficient giant maintenance as well.
Oof. Ouch.
I'm expecting he sells the Wraith. He takes mines on the Tarantula, maybe? Although, I think he needs a real chaff clear option, and I'm not actually sure what you want to run for that. I don't think you want Vulcan for it. Maybe it's more Tarantula and a tech on the Tarantulas. But that's kind of playing into the Sabertooth counter on board. So Apooche's got a oh, we can also use missiles to clear chaff. That's another option if we are feeling spicy. He's gonna range, and he thinks more chaff as opposed to chaff clear, and he's gonna try and protect his Tarantulas. I worry they're gonna lock on the Sabers and then not kill the Sabers and then die and not really clear the chaff so the birds can do the job.
Really beautiful chaff board though, with all the crawlers.
Yes.
I think the problem is just that they're so high level. They're feeding, right? They're feeding so much that Yeswinbig can't even afford to level everything.
Yes, but those levels aren't also super huge. I think he elite recruited the Sabers, and the Sabers definitely aren't leveling off of them.
True, true.
And I don't think he's really afraid of leveled arcs.
Right.
So, to me, the levels and the experience they're giving is largely moot. The question to me is, whose chaff is alive at the end?
Right.
And if Apooche could just get a chaff clear, I think he's got this in the bag.
Right.
Because there's only 2 marksmen. Yep.
Yep, it's going to be 600 surviving for Apooche. Drops Yeswinbig down to 1172. We're on to round 7. This is, of course, the second round match of the Weekend Tournament Americas. For those of you joining us partway through, Apooche, near side, has been in control every round. Yeswinbig is slowly getting whittled down, needs to turn it around, and Apooche seems to be just waiting for like a Vulcan drop or a way to set the ground on fire.
Elite Mustang is somewhat worth considering, because that will kill chaff. I'm gonna go with acid. It'll be 2 rounds. It's really strong, hard to shield against effectively. In the slow, or actually try to light the acid or the oil on fire. So he's acid and oil.
Acid and oil combined. I want you to be stuck in it. And oh, that hurts. Those shield bubbles are just slightly too far back. And of course he's doing that because he doesn't want them to get insta-locked and burst right on the line, so he has them just behind the crawlers. But sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and put them right up on the line. I don't know, Apooche's positioning is a little greedy. The center line is just on the shieldable side. But even if he'd had these shield bubbles right up on the line, big chunks of this would have landed anyways. So.
Right. I actually think that depth of shield is just a mistake, because there's not even great shield break for Apooche, and the only shield break he has is the Phoenix, and your crawlers are going to run forward. So I think those bubbles should have been on the line for him.
Yeah,
and I don't say that because of what happened. I think that just was correct.
Yeah, you said that based on what you were seeing. And, no, Apooche is running... Check this bar out. Check this bar out. Apooche is running Launcher Overload and Charged Shot. Oh, that oil and acid combo on that right side, so valuable for Apooche this round. Did a lot of work. And Apooche wins. 600 surviving yet again, whittling Yeswinbig down, 572 left. And
Fire Badger for game, no drop.
No drop still. We will... Feels like it's been forever since a drop.
It does.
Yeswinbig with the skip. Apooche also. So... I'd like to see Yeswinbig take a mobile beacon to put some of this out and around, even if it's out into the, out into the flanks to go around this.
There it is. He needed marksmen, and he needed more of them, and he needed them to shoot first. I haven't seen Apooche really improve his chaff clear. He's using missiles for this round.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't win it off this round, then Yeswin is about to get into a dangerous pivot position, I think, potentially.
Well, Apooche's answer is going to be 3 level 2 tarantulas. Of course, he's the elite specialist.
Wow. These anti-missile devices are specifically for sentry missiles. And he's going to shoot down at least 3 of these.
Brilliant. Yeah, there is no source of missile on the board, so they are, as you said, exactly for stopping a sentry missile.
The emotes back and forth with the respect. Mm-hmm. Oh, the Vulcan drop. Interesting.
Yeah, it was legit one of the things that I love about the game, Mr. Krieger, and as you know, Titan, really one of the things I hope we're keeping, or able to keep about the community as the game goes live. It's going to take a conscious effort on the part of all of us who have been supporting the game for a long time. Like, if we're going to keep this respect and positivity in the community, it's going to take a intentional effort on our parts as members of our community. So,
right.
I do believe Apooche has won this round, but I am seeing a pause here.
Yeah, it seems clear to me what happened, or what should have happened, but I'll leave and see what it looks like on the menu if you want to linger in the game.
I left as well. Apooche won, and from this it looks like Yeswinbig clicked the surrender button. Yeah, I'm just going to summarize for a moment. Apooche, this is round 2. We know there's going to be some one-sided matches. The upsets here would be a major surprise. For example, in Europe, there were exactly two upsets in the second round. It's just a matter of kind of an artifact of the way the tournament format is. So Apooche, Armadillo, that is one of Dillo's accounts, of course. Dzemp, Codafly, playing under the name Mualani, Rice, and Doxon all win. We have Measim, Zillilag, Squish, Too Smart, Rider Live, and all the way through the top half of the bracket, the favorite one. On the other side, the favorites are Hots, True Spirit, Cheeseburglar. Here's the upset. Shade beat Cursed. Congratulations to Shade. Here's an even bigger upset. Malvortex over Sunnyside. And wait. Is that 3 in a row? Back to back to back? That is Echo beating Huanya of Engui. Crossfit, Steelsane, Rooster, and B-Man, the favorites, all get the W's. And that puts us through to round 3. Really excited. This game has been in development. Did you guys know this? This game has been in development for 6 years. From concept, the founding of the Green Rivers studio, to current iteration. It's been in early access for over a year. It gets, well, I mean, it gets 1,000 players at the lowest point in the day-night cycle, even during early access. This release, I really hope this release is huge. It is one of a kind. It is the single most fascinating strategy game that I've been playing since getting deep into XCOM Long War. So here's our grouping. Dillo, Steelsane, Rice, Zillilag are the top seeds. Some of the OG top seeds in the tournament, Apooche, B-Man, Rooster, Dzemp, and Codifly, all down at 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th due to having one minor point. Basically, points are the number of wins that you have. Minor points are the number of points that your opponents have. So if you totaled up the points that odds and friendly have, Dillo would have, they would have 2 points between them. There you go. Rooster versus Measim. Oh, Cody versus Crossfit. Dachshund versus Dzemp. These matches get better and better and better. But, whoosh, Cody and Crossfit are both on the line.
They are game-changing if you use them, so there's not ever a pure cookie cutter.
Exactly.
And it's just amazing. And also, you picked the match I wanted to see, by the way. I was still listening, so...
Of course.
Good choice.
Well, thank you. Welcome to round 3 of Weekend Tournament America's number 71. It's time to put somebody is going to get the cut. Codifly and Crossfit are both in line to qualify for the Mechabellum Launch Clash tournament if they win this tournament tonight. One of them has to lose this match and not do it. Mualani, Codifly. Cody has been a long-time moderator on this channel and a super, super helpful member of the Mechabellum Guild community. So
the origin of Triple Threat Trick.
Yep, is the organizer of the Triple Threat Tricksters tournament, which is in its 2nd season right now. So, and of course came runner-up in this tournament last week. Super good player, near side blue, elite specialist, has just recently broken 2100. CrossFit on the far side, quick supply specialist. Well, let me put it this way, when I ran the numbers last night, CrossFit was the top-seeded player in the qualifying tournament, and he's looking to change that right now.
Being the top-seeded player not in the tournament.
I'd rather not be in that, thank you. Let me just go directly. And CrossFit coming out with the aggro on the left side. Hits the left side's tower. Cody gets through to the right side's tower, but it's a bit late. And CrossFit able to get the second tower, gets the cleanup, and the Fangs aren't enough to finish off the Phoenix. So CrossFit taking the quick supply to unlock and buy the round 1 Phoenix, and basically has an air win on top of a board that included a whole bunch of marksmen, which is kind of I'd say a baller way to do it, except you guys might think I was talking about baller.
2 blue Fangs on the front of the formation for Cody as elite is a hard telegraph into Fang for aggro intentions, and is if I'm CrossFit, I'm dropping Mustangs this round. Specifically. I think it's too powerful not to, and I think the blue storms there is a great add as well, because try and destroy those tarantulas.
Right, but specifically when you said it dropped the Mustangs, it's because they get to feed levels from level 2. Mm-hmm. From round 2, they get to just farm XP off of these front line chaff units. Those Fangs are going to be outranged by a ranged Mustang. The Mustang can just chew them up, get the levels that it needs to scale, and scale to a really scary level. Why is that? That is because a level 1 unit gives out X experience and has Y stats. A level 2 unit gives out 3X experience and has 2Y stats for 1.5Z the cost. Right?
Right.
So it is If it survives, great. You've got the unit doing all the damage. It's got all the stats. If you lose with it, you're giving away better experience. So, Crossfit going to win on the side that he placed these storms. Also gets through to the tower on the left. And that is round 2 to Crossfit. Cody down to 38.92. Showed up in chat to say, man, I'm scared. Fair enough, brother. Fair enough.
I can't fathom why.
Can't fathom why.
Totally rational.
Exactly. It's not irrational if it's deserved.
So Cody takes deploy module or assault scorpion here, I think. CrossFit takes incendiary and places it on his right side, or on the right side.
Right. Cody's right. CrossFit's left. Looks like CrossFit's putting it on the other side. He can knock out that side and take the tower with the Phoenix really early. Now he puts it where you were imagining. The more natural place for it, I think. Cody setting up for Giants took a barrier.
Interesting.
Elite Specialist.
Words of the natural giant here. I actually don't like that choice because, yeah, I actually really don't like that choice for Cody. It's a very high tempo play or low tempo play when he's behind for a giant that will be low tempo when you're elite.
Unless
elite really gets a lot of value out of the barrier.
Unless you're wrong about the build. It's not.
I mean, if I'm wrong about the build, then I really don't like his formation. So it's a bit of a cascading thing.
What if it's not Fort Fang? What if it's Hacker Fang?
Then what are you going to put the barrier on? You don't have a giant, and you have to add elite.
You drop one Vulcan for the chaff clear.
I don't think that's a good direction. At least not to be your build-around plan. Maybe that's your pivot solution to a difficult situation. But I don't think that's what you wanted to plan on doing from the beginning.
He has dropped a flank level 2 Tarantula over here. So it looks like he's going heavier and heavier onto the Tarantulas. So it's not going to be a barrier for a Vulcan. CrossFit wins all 3 of the first 3 rounds. He gets to round 4 with Mualani on 3260. CrossFit still at 3800. Efficient Giant Manufacturing can drop the level 2 Giants down from 600 to 550, but CrossFit gets a better percentage break, dropping the 400 cost to 350. Both players skip it, take the laser sights. Ranged Tarantulas for CrossFit. Field Maintenance Tarantulas for Mualani. Cody's cooking something.
He is cooking. I like the repair on the Tarantulas, although I don't think that's going to be enough. And he doesn't have hardly anything to anchor the left side. He's basically hard relying on level 2 storms.
There's a spot for a Tarantula out over here. No, he's going to go with a double deploy instead.
Yeah, but if you do that, then it's also right in line with the birds, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he has to get the chaff for it first. So it's a late arriving crawler. It's also a flank screen crawler. A level 2 marksman behind this aggro line. Missile takes out the level 3 crawlers.
All of this is now the second round where he hasn't been able to use his barrier, and I don't see a giant that he wants to pay 200 to unlock and 600 to deploy for the barrier.
Right, no, I think the barrier is a hopeful for a drop.
Yeah, I think that... Yeah. This is going downhill fast.
Right, and I mean, to be fair, Cody's from Croatia. It's 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, something like that. So that may have just been I'm tired, it's the middle of the night. I forgot that I was
fair.
elite.
That's super fair.
You know, it happens. It's grinding to try and qualify for the tournament through this way. getting mature elite. I mean, I've had games where I forgot I was giant specialist.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that is also so upsetting when you're like, the worst part is if you already unlocked the giant and then you couldn't buy the giant, like, because at that point you've already down to 200.
Right.
And then you don't have the thing that you were planning on, and it's just as backbreaking.
Here he gets the drop. He gets the melting
And that's
point
not the
drop
giant you want,
and puts
but it's a giant.
puts a laser sight on it. He's at least has the item for it. And this way it outranges Crossfit's Melter. He drops a level 2 Tarantula in front of it all, right where we were talking about, it being in trouble.
Unironically, I want the laser sight on that Tarantula so that it stays safe, and I want the barrier on the fort, or sorry,
On the Melter. I can see that play, actually, working pretty well. There'll be another Tarantula off to the far left.
Oh, that's a sad Tarantula on the left.
And a Fang out in front of this all.
Oh, okay, the Melter moved. I was gonna say that would be the saddest Tarantula with that Melter just being like, spawn.
Yes. CrossFit has taken range on the Melters. Range, of course, is plus 40 meters. The laser sight is only plus 20, so he's actually going to outrange the laser sight Melter for a little while until Cody is able to range Melters. And he might not want to invest in it because he's not going to be buying a zillion of them. So CrossFit at least forcing his hand with the range. The chaff placement was perfect for Cody with this pack of fangs and that late crawler. He really set this play up nicely. Not this turn, but last turn with the placement of the crawler, and then this turn with the placement of the fang. So gets the job done on the left. Did lose to the second Melter on the right. And has... well... we got locked first, so I mentioned earlier that CrossFit had better range due to having taken the range tech. Even though this was a level 1 Melter, it locks the level 2 Melter first. And the way that melting point damage goes, getting the lock first is critical. So that is why the level 1 Melter beats the level 2 Melter there. They both take a Wasp Swarm.
The addition of the ploy is really strong.
They both take the Wasp Swarm. For CrossFit, he knows that Cody can't afford to defend it. It's just really tough for Elite Specialists to cover all the angles. And Cody took it because he knows that it's tough to cover all the angles. He's got something down here. He's ready to cover it either here or here. And needs to add a Fang somewhere. Where did that Fang go? Oh, that Fang is deep to draw the melting point. Unfortunately, it's going to get hit by a sentry missile. It was designed to draw the melting point's range for a while. With a level 2.
It'll still draw it for a little bit because the back post won't. Yeah.
Yeah. CrossFit 600 and a deploy still to go. Has lots of different things he could do. So he's really thinking it through. Takes a second tech on the Tarantulas for 500. That's a spider mine. And
that's going to be huge in the Tarantula mirror because when they shoot each other, those mines will get in and do absolutely massive damage.
Right.
Wasps are going to shoot each other in the back, and this will do most of that. So Cody's Wasps will survive, which are going to be valuable to distract the Melters. We still haven't seen Mustangs. I think if CrossFit had added Mustangs, this game would be over by now. I think the chaff is just absolutely eat up, and then the melting points are able to clear the single targets.
This is kind of nice for Cody. He gets through, gets tower on the right, and kills the Melter. And then the Tarantulas heal back up to full, while the Wasps are distracting all of the Melters. He gets really good value out of the Wasps, wins the round hard, drops CrossFit to 2234. Cody's on 2260. All of a sudden, he is in the lead going into round 7. Assault Fang for Cody.
Fang is good here.
Speed and decreased range, but increased attack. They're up front. They're engaging with crawlers right away. This is about making them a more effective chaff clear, essentially, and then ensuring that they keep moving quickly.
Right.
keep engaging, get themselves into position to be the next piece of chaff.
I'm really confused at what CrossFit thinks he's using to clear the fangs, because I don't see a single unit other than the one Stormcaller that is a fang here. Like a few, not really that great.
He's sitting here thinking, I've got tarantulas with 135 meter range. These things have 75 meters. It's fine. I've got this.
And more of them, then it might start to work, but they are currently severely outgunned.
Well, he had 2 more. Now he's got 4 of them.
Right.
There's only 3 fangs on the board. It's not like there... Well, 4 fangs on the board, I guess. Are we rhino dropping that one? Yes, we are. We've got the classic Goomba stomp falling in on the flank over here. Should just land on it. The hit point damage dealt by the falling unit and the hit points of the units on the ground are compared against each other. The hit point damage that is smaller is dealt to the larger, and the smaller one is completely deleted. So in that case, our rhino fell in and died, effectively becoming a rhino javelin. Did some damage, but didn't kill. Cody got to the backside tower with the flank tarantula at perfect timing to save the smelter over here. Not perfect. Full stop, but you know, better. It allowed him to do some mitigation.
Not die.
Cody down to 304 hit points. He's taken another barrier. It's a barrier Vulcan from last round, a barrier melter out here.
I want to see EMP and another melter from CrossFit.
He's got 4 of them already, right?
And
another
low
tech
range.
would be great. He's got EMP on the bar. He's running energy diffraction and energy absorption. Doesn't have crawler production. It's kind of the 5th tech that you would think of people wanting. They both have the same tech base.
If I had to pick one to remove, I would pull crawlers for diffraction as well. But it's just so hard.
Yeah. You like your crawler production, I know.
It's good, especially now that we have the spread formation.
Right, you can create crawlers that are in spread formation.
Are crazy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people haven't quite adjusted to that wrinkle in the current meta.
Fang shield is going to be huge here, though, for Cody, because that's going to mean that back flank on the right doesn't get its chaff cleared by the missile.
Right.
And that melting point is going to be hard blocked, which means I predict Cody is going to win the right side. Enough melter left for it to close out.
Yeah, right. You did call that right side going exactly how it did. And right, melters have the locks. 1 melter surviving would have been enough. CrossFit has 2. Codafly puts up a great fight, but one of these 2 players had to drop. Cody had broken 2100 MMR recently. I have screenshot proof. CrossFit, of course, has been consistently above 2200. So, well done to him. And CrossFit en route, possibly to qualifying tonight. Mualani might be en route to bed. In our unbeatens, Dillo beats the spoiler. If you are new to this tournament format, if there's an odd number of unbeaten players, top player with 1 loss faces the top player with no losses. That is the spoiler roll. Dillo beats it, beats the TRC in it. Rice, the true spirit. Apooche, Measim beats Rooster. CrossFit over Codafly. Dzemp beats Dachshund, so he is another one that could qualify. Dzemp and CrossFit probably the 2 favorites to achieve that today. B-Man beats Cheeseburglar. Shade over Too Smart. Zillilag beats Rider Live. Of course, Steel Sane, a multiple-time tournament winner, beats Echo. That is going to leave us with 11 unbeaten and Rooster in the spoiler roll. Squish says, I am not quite at Apooche's level yet. Hey, neither am I.
Right. Measim can't qualify as a developer.
Right.
Ooh.
Measim versus Rice, Zillilag versus Dzemp, Dillo versus Apooche. Dillo's in the potential qualifier, and True Spirit versus CrossFit. Some great matches. What do you want to go to?
My hope is to get a Dillo Dzemp game at some point.
All right.
I would be curious to see. Let's see how Dzemp does against Zillilag.
Okay.
This is going to be a really good match, I think. Excited to see. Apparently, Dzemp said he's been having interesting time with this patch, so it'll be a fun chance to kind of see how that unfolds. All right. So we have Dzemp versus Zillilag in the Americas Weekend Tournament. I believe this is round 4. And one of the things that we've been talking about, of course, is that the Launch Clash Mecha Tournament is upcoming soon, and you have to win 2 tournaments, weekend tournaments, to qualify without having to go through the qualifiers. Dzemp is on the verge of that and takes the marksman spec with Steel Ball. Very interesting. And we have a quick supply specialist for Zillilag in the blue. Right off the bat, I know Dzemp is generally more of a standard player, so I'm anticipating these will be Steel Balls that get sold at some point. Playing them from deep, maybe keep them, maybe not. And we have the classic 4 sledge opening. Pretty strong against a Steel Ball start in general, as the multi-locks can be difficult for Steel Balls to answer. And yeah, this is aggressive, OG on the line sledge gaming.
Sledge gaming, let's go!
Aren't you glad we picked this game?
You picked the right game. You know how happy you have made me with this.
I do. I know exactly how happy I have made you with this. Just gotta see if an early drop punishes a hard sledge commit like this or rewards it.
Right. And, I mean, I'm sitting here hoping there's an Amaroq sledge flank. Come on. I don't care if the sledges get punished. I want to see the sledge flank. Let's go.
And he's also not running EMP, but he is otherwise running all the carry techs.
Yeah, he's got carry damage, so armor-piercing bullets, 200% increase to the damage dealt. If you're going to commit to sledges in offense and have your sledges actually stand up to giants, this is the way to do it. Not many people try it. Zillilag, man after my own heart.
Ooh, ER Ball is on offer. Didn't really play them with the intent of running them, I don't think, but ER Ball could now make that interesting. If your opponent's pushing, you could turn every ball pack into a melter pack. Yep.
Mm-hmm. It is a great card for Dzemp and a really painful one for Zillilag to see. He takes the Wasp Swarm. Dzemp commits to two more Steel Balls. So that ER Steel Ball card has completely changed this unit. It goes from being a 45 meter range to being an 85 meter range. It is just tremendous. Decrease to the hit points, decrease to the attack, but you still do your laser ramp up damage. It's tremendous. The only problem is you have to keep them out of the fight. You're going to want crawlers that arrive behind them. You're going to want some crawlers screening them in front. Playing it effectively can be a challenge. Zillilag adds the flank screen crawlers to prevent the Wasp drop. Flank screening fangs to prevent the Wasp call-in from affecting him. And instead what he's going to get is his Wasps are chasing off after a Steel Ball pack instead of going to a tower the way he might have wanted them to.
It's really interesting, though, because this position with what Dzemp is doing is incredibly vulnerable to marksman complements. Because the health loss on the Steel Balls is massive, particularly as you get levels on them because of the decrease being compounded by base stats.
Right.
So, it's not a hard counter to sledges. It's more like a different carry unit that are going to fight each other as opposed to a counter unit. So I actually think this could work out to the sledge player's advantage because this is a huge steel ball commitment now from Dzemp that could be punished with units you already want to use.
Right. And from Zemp's perspective, he may not have the experience playing this ER steel ball
This
grouping.
is not...
It's not a standard thing to play from defense. He's certainly making it up on the fly.
That cheaper text is huge. I think that it was probably correct for both of them, because both of these carry units are very tech hungry.
Right. And Zillilag did not pick it up, skipped it.
Took a Scorpion and is using flank screen, so the classic sledge answer is Scorpion among others, and he's going to use that against Steel Ball, which is also a classic unit answered by Scorpion. And with the health decrease, Scorpion kills a level 3 ER ball.
Right, and it has the laser sights on it already. It deletes the chaff clear unit over here. It's protected from chaff over here. It's basically sitting in a nice little pocket of chaff, and the idea is it's going to delete, because it outranges them, it's going to delete the arc lights before the arc light can get anywhere near its chaff. I don't want you anywhere near my fangs, leave me alone. Takes out 2 steel balls in a single shot there, as you said it would. It's got enough XP to level. I don't know that the level matters for it yet.
Right, because the health won't matter too much if it gets locked by steel balls, and the damage is not really a relevant factor because it's already one-shotting. The ability to be leveled, however, is relevant.
Did it just take out 4 of those in a single shot? Ugh. Yikes. Brutal.
Also, taking them means they can't drop, so Dzemp can't get them for free, which is actually a really valuable denial as well.
Right. Spending the 100 for the
when one
unlock.
unit counters you and your opponent, running it means that you're the only one who gets it.
Right. Your opponent has to invest in it rather than getting it as a cheap drop. So it preempted it from showing up in this drop that happened to the exact next round, right? Dzemp taking the Mustangs, that's a natural complement to the steel balls. You run them together. It's a great answer to Fangs. It's terrible into sledges that have armor on the bar. So it's he's hoping to force Zillilag to click the armor button, I think. I'm not Dzemp, obviously. I suspect Dzemp is hoping to force Zillilag to click the armor button and then make the 4 carry text all the more expensive. Zillilag takes the marksman that you were suggesting he was going to need as his answer. As you said, those now one-tap these steel balls. 6,900 to 5,400 in a way that they might not have if they weren't extended range steel balls. They also one-tap that, or two-tap, I'm sorry, that arc light, the middle.
The steel balls have their range tech now, I believe. So they are at their 125 meter engagement.
Right.
But they're a bit of an awkward sniping unit. They really want to be used like melting points. And having a bunch of melting points is good, but they can be overwhelmed. That said, I really want to see Mechabellum on these steel balls now, because they pop one at a time and then they're going to trickle chaff in to protect themselves.
See guys, you know why I run heavy targeting on my steel balls? This build is one of the spots where you're playing defense, you've got the ER steel ball, you've got range on them, you're willing to give up 10 meters to have a guarantee that you will bypass chaff to hit the thing that actually matters, that's in range.
Right. And the other thing is, how many people even care about all 4 of their ball techs?
Mm-hmm.
Most people only care about range and effective.
Right.
Maybe suck. Range, effective, and suck. The 4th one is really dependent.
Right.
Armor is a sacrifice in most cases, but I'm of the armor bandwagon, but I think that heavy target is not nearly as bad as it gets the reputation for.
It has a reputation, and it's got places to use. Right. Having one of these folks up here with a chaff in front of it where it could just insta-lock this Scorpion, bypassing all of the chaff that's supposed to be protecting it. Bink, insta-lock. Watch some steel balls up here, insta-lock. Alright, they lock on the sledges and just ignore the fangs entirely. obviously it'd be pivoting from this deep positioning, but it's a way to punish this kind of super aggro positioning. It's a way to punish super aggro flanks. And Mr. Krieger, you say, I'll believe you when I start seeing those heavy target replays. I've run it multiple times to success, and I've never run a Vortex steel ball, right?
Right.
Heavy Target has such a bad reputation that nobody remembers that it got renamed, let alone what its current name is. It's true. It's true.
By the way, this is something that Dzemp is really good at. He will look at his board, and he will look at the cards, and he will take what makes sense and what plays to the strengths to utilize the situationally powerful things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this... You won't see a Mustang ball from deep build forced ever. But if the game gives you the tools to run it, Dzemp will run it, and he will commit to running it.
Right. He would be the
That's
ultimate
what
master
really
of...
well.
Yeah, he would be the ultimate master of Art of the Cards if he ever decided to come play it. It would be scary to watch him play that.
Because he just plays what the game gives you without having a preconceived intention.
Right. I'm not going to try to force cards that did not suit my build, or force just skip. None of these cards suit my build. Skip. None of these cards suit my build. Skip. Mm-hmm. Chat does point out that, thank you, Toast, it's not called heavy targeting anymore, Amaroq. It's called fortified target lock. Well, part of course, the push towards 1.0 has included new translation team with a whole bunch of consistency. For example, trying to make sure that shields and barriers are actually used only in the spots where they don't. The game mechanics support exactly what is said in each spot, so they really have a very distinct difference between them. And shielded device versus, shield generator is not a shielded device. It generates an energy shield versus all of that sort of thing.
Right.
So
one of those reading the card explains the card moments. They're going for where everything is specific enough to be correct if you read it.
Yes, if you read it and understand it specifically, it should all be correct. And that's really important, right? For a player understanding the game, you need to not...
accessibility.
Yeah, you need to not need to come watch a streamer to figure out that, oh wait, no, this says X, but it actually means Y, and there's Z exceptions to it. No, you just need to be able to know.
Well, it turns out when you run 16 melters on round 6, that it's dangerous.
And they've all leveled. They're up into level 3 and beating. And Zillilag in a lot of trouble. Down to 1,300 hit points. Going into round 7, Dzemp at 3,800. And all of those steel balls could level if he wants them to. And he's given them plus 10 range. So has Zillilag. Right. Zillilag also fell for, I think, the trap that we were talking about, putting on armor on the sledges, rather than committing to fighting these things at long range. Right? He could have added 40-meter range to them to get his sledges out to fighting at further range. I
actually think armor was a good call. I think that the marksmen were a mistake. What I had said earlier was when they take the ER card, a level 3 steel ball is still one-tapped by Scorpion. I wanted to see Scorpions lining behind these sledges and just being a firing squad. And his real problem is he doesn't have Fang clear. He's losing this game because of shielded Fangs.
Well, and when he committed this hard to the 4 sledges, he's committing to Mech Rage to clear Fangs. Now he's added the Typhoons, but he still hasn't taken the Mech Rage. Right.
Well, and Typhoons aren't that great against Fangs either, because the range is so close that it can actually, once you range the Fangs, they're basically non-clear. that was actually something that blew my mind away, is that against Typhoons, ranged Fang is better than shielded Fang by a massive margin.
Right.
But
it's also really valuable for him against the sledges and against the scorpions. So he's really forcing the Typhoons to be the only shield or Fang figure.
Right, and that's where he needed some other unit to fill that role, because I think that Scorpions, if he had a line of them earlier, like this round is honestly fairly solid, or was, and he's doing better now than he had been on some of the previous rounds. But at this point, I think it's snowballed on him a little bit too far. Because the Mustangs and the Steel Balls clump up in the same line.
Right. Zillilag down to 453 hit points. Dzemp at 3808. And Zillilag in a lot of trouble.
None of these are really good Fang clearing options. The Vulcan can be, but not when you're the pushing player like this.
Yeah, I think the 3 Fire Badgers take range is the best option he had.
Either... Probably, yeah.
Yeah, vertically...
Although they don't feel great.
Yeah, vertically so they get locked. Oh goodness, Dzemp has them as well and puts them right up on the front line, where he can just drop... Obviously, he just drops Napalm and the... Fangs get locked, they walk into the Napalm and have trouble.
Yep. Because Zillilag needs range, but Dzemp is going to be able to take Napalm because he's already on the line, and they can be sacrificial.
Yeah, they leave the burning flames in place and continue to get value that way, if he takes the Napalm, which he hasn't yet. He's still got plenty of cash for it.
He did sell one of them, so he may be planning on checking them.
Right, just leaving them out there.
Right. I definitely like levels on the balls and the Mustangs, which is what he does there.
I also really like the way that he's steadily building up from the back, right? You can see he added the layer of Fangs, now he's adding the layer of Fire Badgers and front rank Crawlers. So very steadily building towards the front with the carry units from further back just... Oh, he didn't sell them, he deployed them on the flank.
I was zoomed in.
Yeah,
I see them. The Scorpions are putting in work because the lines are clumped.
Right, they really are. The Fangs, or the Mustangs and Steel Balls are all right at the same range right now. And you can see even the Typhoons are standing at about that same distance. The Steel Balls, though, do run suck right now. They fully heal if they survive a shot and had a lock on. So anywhere that Zillilag can, he needs to be in level 2 Scorpions. That's where they one-shots them without allowing them to heal up. Watch them just heal on the bar there. This level 1 Scorpion won't get it done. He heals all the way back up to full. The level 2 does get the job done. Zillilag staying alive. One hero, number 019. Scorpion gets that job done. Zillilag's at 450. Dzemp down to 3,500. Mobilized
every level
ship.
1 Scorpion needs to be level 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think you care about going to level 3.
Exactly, not yet. You're getting close. You're getting close because these have 2,100 and you're doing 2,700. So,
right, it would need to be a level 7 Steel Ball before you need level 3. Because they can track 3 to 1.
Or warning. Or level 6 with the armor enhancement. For the hit point value.
Armor would do the trick. Although I really want to see Dzemp click effective, and I think he wins this hard. Because if those crawlers start streaming out when he pops the little packs of balls, then the follow-up shots from the Scorpions won't shoot what he wants them to.
Right. It's 700 to click that. He has exactly 700 left. Opts not to go for that with the mass recruitment instead.
More balls instead.
Dzemp took the boat drop, has it kind of positioned to lock onto tower. Zillilag also took boat drop. guessed the correct side, has his Rhino falling on the other side. Actually almost got this to where if that had been the boat drop side, he would have Goomba stomped it.
That was his intention, I think. He placed it where he could have Goomba'd.
It's a really interesting drop, and of course it's a great drop onto the Fire Badgers as well. So
Right.
we'll see if this is enough. I think his boat will go lock while Dzemp's is stuck on other units and the Fangs come on out. So yeah, Zillilag gets the defensive boat drop and help from those. We
Yep.
talked about this position, so good at screening you from all sorts of flanks and drops. And really key early game decision that paid off really big on this round after not paying off all game. Right? It hasn't been key. It mattered a lot this round. If you went back and rewatched this and paid attention to, round 2, Zillilag makes that decision. It pays off on round 9.
And I'm feeling really... the extra Scorpions are doing exactly what I envision in my head them doing.
You read this board really well. Called out what Zillilag needed. He's got it now.
And he's got to click the mech div, I think.
Dzemp, right. Needs to see this
There we
board,
go.
takes the mech div.
And he needs to click... Oh, he's not running spread. My gosh.
Yeah, a couple of people aren't. He doesn't have spread on the bar. Zillilag does. Instead of taking spread, what I want to see him take is replicate, because they'll drop, they'll run in, they'll get some additional...
I don't think that's going to work. I think there's too much to clear at this point with 5 packs of Badgers and 4 Typhoons on the front line.
Right, but every
still
little
got the 4
little
sledges.
bit you do, like these guys replicate. You give this guy a replicate drop or something. Every little bit helps, and I don't know. I think it would have worked. We'll see.
We could save this replay. I mean, the fact that we can't test
Yes.
spread is really sad, but
Yeah, we won't be able to
if
test
possible,
spread.
spread means they get in because they were not getting in yet. We
Right.
haven't seen spread. If they get in, it's worth it. But in my mind, spread would be the click and not replicate. I don't think without replicate
Right.
or without spread that the replicate has value.
I see what you mean. And of course, Dzemp adding steel balls up front. In fact, even ahead of the Fangs, trying to get them to drop crawlers right early in the round. They should get a lock. They should do some damage. They're going to bust through shields. Then they get tanked. They turn into crawlers that become chaff before his level 4s arrive and become clumped up with them. That did not happen. There are crawlers. See, there's crawlers coming into this deep position. I think there's a crawler v crawler fight happening in under all this fire. But,
And look at the difference that taking mech div made.
so much loss
Every-
eaten.
I want to count how many steel balls there were, because each steel ball produces 5 crawlers when it dies. So I'm betting you that was like
There-
200 crawlers that he added to his board.
There were 9 packs times 4 steel balls. 36 times 5 is 180.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He has 11 steel balls.
11 steel balls. Oh, right, because he bought the one on the flank and moved it back after I did that count.
44 times 5 is 220 crawlers.
Yep. Very nice. So
Wow.
Titan calling this game on both sides what tech was needed to turn the game. Really neat. Read the Scorpion need, read the replicate crawler need, not the replicate, the mech div crawler need.
Active.
So really well played. Do want to call out there was an interesting conversation in chat. There's a really interesting conversation in chat that we had. Soja asked if if I have mass sledge and I have sledge as an early unit, can you sell it to get the full 200 back or not? Yes, absolutely you can. You get back the full value. The units already on the board get the nerfed stats of becoming mass-produced sledges, but you can still sell them for the full value. And this selling price correctly tells you what the sell price is of any unit. So if you're ever in that situation, you're not sure what your sell price would be, you can't remember which unit you placed, you can click on it, you can go see the exact sell value you'd get for selling out of that one unit. So.
Right.
Really fascinating board. We said earlier, you're never going to see the same match twice. You're never going to see this match
Particularly
again.
with Dzemp.
This was amazing. Vicar wants to know if you have Rhino Final Blitz and use a Rhino Drop to Goomba Stomp, does it still explode? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. GG, guys.
And Goomba Stomping counts as healing for the purposes of any techs that convert damage to healing.
CrossFit staying alive for the chance to qualify for that coveted Mechabellum Launch Clash tournament spot. Hodafly in the spoiler role spoils Steel Sane's bid. Of course, Steel Sane has already booked his spot in that tournament.
Right.
Apooche ends...
One of the gatekeepers is down.
Yes, one of the gatekeepers is out. Apooche ends Dillo's run, one of the gatekeepers getting it done. Dzemp beat Zillilag. B-Man ends Shade's run at Cinderella Story. And Measim gatekeeps Rice. Rice, one of the top seeds coming in, and of course is one of the top seeds in that qualifying tournament right now. If the qualifying tournament were to be held right now, Gate Life says, "Ha ha ha ha! Welcome to chat, Gate Life. You have the perfect name, the gatekeeper right now." We're down to 5 unbeatens. Cody up against Dzemp to keep spoiling this. If Cody wins that drops us to a 6-round tournament. If Dzemp can win it, it keeps us on live for a 7-round tournament. Crossfit will be against B-Man, Measim, and Apooche. Measim can't qualify. Apooche is already in. I think we have to go with B-Man and Crossfit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Welcome to round 5 of Weekend Tournament Americas, number 71. This match would be the semifinals if Cody can beat Dzemp in the spoiler role. It'll be a quarterfinal match if Dzemp beats Cody. B-Man, Nearside Blue, the legendary Billy streamer, B-Station Shark Rookie, facing CrossFit, Farside Red. CrossFit, of course, looking to book a spot in the Mechabellum Lunch Clash tournament with a tournament win today. He's halfway there, just needs to win a second weekend tournament. He's got this, coming off of an epic, winning in round 12 with only 94 hit points left. You know, he has no weight. He's just straight into the next match. I hope you didn't have to, do a bio break or anything, sir.
Right. Starting with Crawler Mustang is really rough, and doing so into Storm Arc is gonna hurt. So this is definitely advantage B-Man, I think, just off the initial packs.
And if you can't see from the way I have my camera, he's put the arc lights straight in front of the towers, one in the middle. Vertical arc lights because vertical storms is not normal for B-Man. It's because he's expecting an aggro push from a Rhino specialist with 2 fast starting units. CrossFit is going to start out on the right side with the Mustangs together. This makes sense, right? When you've got this pack and you're into something that suits against it, you want to have kind of a strength together. Yeah. Whether you're going to play at standard or aggro, it doesn't really matter. You want them both on the same side.
It looks like everything gets pulled, so there's no inexplicable tower sniping going on. The Mustangs are doing a reasonable job. There's still crawlers to distract, at least some, going after storms. It's going to be a rough round. It was always going to be a rough round, though. I also worry because a Vulcan or Fire Badger drop just absolutely is backbreaking it for CrossFit's formation.
And Cyber, thank you for pointing it out. I had the stream title wrong. This is Weekend Tournament Americas. welcome. It's not the 2v2 from intermission. B-Man takes the anti-interference module. Crossfit skips. B-Man playing as the Sabertooth Specialist has the Saber, gets the drop on round 2. This is one of the advantages of having these units like the Saber or Marksman Specialist drop on round 2. When you're playing against asymmetrical aggro, you get to drop the unit on the side that you're going to be best suited against. The Crossfit is a Rhino Specialist, takes the Phoenix, puts them both on the aggro side. So using the
Zero
Phoenix...
upshoot. This is going to be a huge round for him to stabilize.
There are fangs behind the tower for B-Man, but yeah, not much.
I guess that's true.
Not much upshoot, and the Phoenix are kind of the perfect counter to Sabertooth. You know, Lil Lexi was asking, wait, how do you counter a round 2 Sabertooth? Because you know it's coming, because it's in the opponent's starting specialist, you know he's going to have that, so you can kind of plan around it. Get yourself a Phoenix established on round 1 or round 2.
The fangs die.
Fangs are down, so it is a round 1 or a round win by air. 400 hit points stealth drops B-Man to 4,000 hit points. Crossfit at 4,200.
Neither bird levels, which is very important because level 2 birds absolutely destroy sabers. So much so that a firepower control for Crossfit is really tempting here.
Orbital, of course, Orbital is Orbital. Smart Arclight also on offer.
Yeah, that Orbital is also in a perfect position to create like a crosshair of all the units.
You might pull it a smidge, maybe 10 meters this way if you really wanted to be greedy and risk your own fangs getting hit. B-Man a little bit more conservative than that, but still. Crossfit takes his time.
Crossfit's still debating. I think
that
it's firepower control on a bird.
He's also got the ability to put fire control on a Wraith or on a Mustang. So it'd be interesting.
Wraith makes a lot of sense.
The home. What is the home for that unit?
It's the middle Phoenix.
Perfect. Good call. Of course, it is the Phoenix in the center of that crosshair.
Sure, but it's there to kill the Saber. I was saying that level 2 bird would be huge.
Right.
That's the closest you can get now, and a level 4 will insta-tap them. The chap in front of that, by the way, is just fangs.
Right, and it's one pack of fang. Right? And it goes down so quickly, both to the Mustangs and the Wraith.
Right, I mean, the Orbital won that round.
Yeah, the Orbital is Orbital. It's really strong. It's going to come back. That's part of why B-Man was willing to invest 100 in it right now. 150. 100%. Right, he knows he's going to get that back before the end of this match.
Sabers are excellent aggro defense if you want them to shoot something they're good at shooting.
Right.
You just can't rely on them to shoot things that they're not made to shoot.
Oh.
But they're really tanky, and they're really high damage.
Farseer is really good for B-Man right now in terms of having something that can shoot air and ground. It'll handle the Wraith while the Wraith is up front. It'll turn and fire at things at longer range, and might push B-Man into, or push Crossfit into, you know, some kind of anti-missile solution.
I love the Wasp. That was what I wanted Crossfit to take. I feel like I am mind-melded with Crossfit this game.
I love it. Of course, if he tries a flank deploy, you've got these Farseers in position for it. On the one side, does not have a Farseer in position for it on the other side. But he has 300.
I'd like to see a bottom left mobile beacon with the blue to this left tower.
Knowing that Crossfit's a Rhino specialist, B-Man is going to put down a steel ball on the side the Rhino's on, so he's really read that very nicely.
That's really well played.
Didn't read the Wraith Wasp Rhino combo, or he'd have a Farseer out there as well. That is fixable next round.
He's got a missile to intercept the chaff idea, though. And I think that hits the Rhino, if I'm looking at this. Which means the Wasp should be largely uncontested. Wraith Wasp should be able to push the tower rather efficiently, and without a orbital, he's going to be much stronger on the left.
Right.
I want to see the Saber sold for forts.
With AA Fort, you're thinking?
Mm-hmm.
That relies on something taking out this Wraith. So that something would be the... I mean, there's a marksman
There's a blue
in
marksman
there.
tucked away already.
Yeah, there's a blue
and that would
marksman
be
tucked
Aaron.
away. And the Farseers as well. They're actually surprisingly efficient against Wraith. You get it down over
By
here.
the way, the missile saved the Rhino because the steel balls died to the air before they could get their locks.
Oh, goodness. And this middle... Right here, this middle Farseer has the anti-interference module. And the fact that it had the anti-interference module really turned that round for B-Man. Crossfit hits the tower, but the anti-interference module... Farseer was able to keep cleaning up against the Phoenix, otherwise it would have died to this itemized Phoenix. So really solid round from B-Man when it looked like he might be in a lot of trouble, right?
Right. He's using missiles, so B-Man is kind of putting himself on a clock. I like CrossFit's long-term position, but I don't know that he gets there.
B-Man's middle Farseer, we talked about, was the gold damage dealer last round. Gets up to level 2 now. And B-Man took...
Spread crawlers.
Right. B-Man took advanced missile specialist, so he's dropping those straight opposite the Wraith. It'll leave the Wraith on 1 hit point if it hits, if it's not protected by a chaff unit.
Right, which means the Fang could even get it.
Right, a single Fang will take it down with a single shot. Single level 1 Fang doing 61 damage.
By the way, I'm pretty sure the reason it's 1501 is so that enhanced missile cannot one-shot it.
Yes. I think you're right.
That's just an odd, like, everybody's OCD is triggered when they look at Wraith.
50,001, what is that?
Such a crucially important decision, even though it is just absolutely painful. Now, the slow might actually save that Wraith, ironically.
Yeah, it falls behind a whole bunch of things. Lots of other units get targeted first. It's got chaff out in front. It's going to take it quite a while to get back out the front. Also, CrossFit did take your favorite, the Loose Formation Crawler. You can see what it takes the Typhoons also, goes with the Ground Specialist Wasps.
Typhoon does make sense as a Wasp answer.
It does, and I wonder if what he's thinking there is that the healing Wraith, I mean, he's seen it from Blue Hair so many times. If he thinks that the healing Wraith actually counters the AA barrage off of Fort, and we know that the AA barrage off of Fort is doesn't scale with level, so
right. That's true. But the Wraith has been really well shut down the whole game, so it's not been leveled, and as a result, I think the Wasps are dangerous. And honestly, the Fort by itself is really strong. And as a level 2 unit, I'm really surprised. I mean,
so
Typhoons.
CrossFit added a anti-missile device over here. It stops a sentry missile from hitting the Rhino, but it would also have stopped a Fort from shooting anti-air missile barrages. So
right.
Maybe not quite as bad of a read as it looked like from B-Man.
CrossFit is collapsing in. I really liked CrossFit's position here.
Right. Again, that anti-interference
really good
module Farseer is doing such great work in the middle of the board. Not enough to carry here, but it had a good round. CrossFit on
Wraith deserves a level.
2620, B-Man down to 2230. That Wraith deserves a level. It certainly earned it.
Absorb mod on it. Rapid cooling.
Nobody has enough spells. Maybe B-Man may not think to bring the orbital back now. I don't think he's gonna get
this game
another
isn't
round
over
out
this
of it.
round.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably what he's considering.
The portable Rhino? Because I think if you go absorb, it goes on the Wraith. If you take portable, I think it goes on the Rhino. He did take cooling for the orbital.
Brought the orbital back.
So he's trying to win the game this round. He loses oil this round. So
And he knows he's got everything stuck
this is
there.
his
The
best
orbital
chance.
bombardment on top of the
Right.
stuck oil might be his best chance over there.
And he might not be bubbling for it because that would be a gamble. Whereas on next round, when you know it's on cooldown,
Right.
it's inevitable.
Right.
So that may be the gamble.
And we're going to add acid crawlers to get in under the Rhino and the Typhoons.
Yep.
Get some acid stuck in that oil. Add some HE ammo on the storms so that our splashes are hitting the things that have acid on them. One thing I need to run is acid plus loose formation crawler
Yes.
to see what that how that actually runs in testing grounds. Just have not had the time.
That
this
orbital
week.
was brutal. I think that might be game, and I think CrossFit was in a winning position, but Beam-Man played to his out. I think that's game, unless he can push to tower.
And he's not
He did
going
level-
to. Has that Wraith still up there, but everything else is gone. It's just Wraith and 2 Phoenix fighting through tower debuff.
That may not be enough, though. I think that Wraith was able to just barely
Ooh.
save him.
CrossFit
And
staying alive. 442 hit points left. The Wraith taking out the 2 Typhoons over here, changing the math as to whether that was lethal or
Fire
not.
Badgers now. Wow.
Sandworm puts CrossFit into the classic Worm Wraith Wasp, although he's gotten there in a roundabout way to get it. And this is not the first time I've seen him in Worm Wraith Wasp plus Mustang, which is interesting. A lot of people, they're planning on the Sandstorm in here, which is a counter-indicated for your own Mustangs. It's a kind of an anti-Mustang counter. So instead, he doesn't take it. I'm going to run Armor Enhancement as my counter to your Typhoons, and I'm going to take Replicate and just count on the fact that I'm going to pop up and down a bunch of times to replicate out a bunch of worms. Of course, the level 3 Sandworm now creates a level 3 larva, so
Right.
that can be
Which
more
at that point is really tanky. I think that has almost 7,000 or 8,000 hit points now on the larva. And that level 3 worm has 200,000.
right.
And there's a bunch of medium units clumped up. I could see CrossFit going with the counter punch for game here.
The level 3 larva has 17,000 hit points. Of course, it's not benefiting from any techs on other than it's summoned into existence in this. And
Right.
the acid, such a bane for a Sandworm player. Really, it was throwing Sandworms into acid crawlers. I think a very painful mistake, because that is what Void Insanity, who has run probably more worm aggro than anybody I know, it's what he says is his bane. It was the tech he was not talking about because he didn't want people to be thinking about it. CrossFit loses out to 2,300 MMR. B-Man, this match had 4,500 MMR combined in it. Wow, you two.
That was a game.
That's a
That
game
was an
and a
amazing
half.
game.
CrossFit in back-to-back epics. It does have a timeout. All
But
acids
it's
have a
very
timeout.
long.
This is a... it doesn't specify on the bar right now what the timeout is, but all acids do timeout over time.
I think it's a 30-second timer.
It's long, right? It's way longer than a lot of other ways that you can put it down. Dzemp did beat Cody. Cody showed up in chat to say, I got stomped. Measim, 2200 MMR, Apooche, Weekend Tournament European number 71 champion, already today. Prevented from doing the double yet again. He's done it twice. Amazing. We're down to 3. 3 unbeaten. 3 spoilers trying to prevent Dzemp from instant qualification tonight. The first of those spoilers will be Apooche facing Dzemp. As is our tradition, we'll be casting Measim and B-Man on the grounds that could be the tournament final. I almost feel like this is the one and only time we might want to follow Apooche versus Dzemp.
Know. Well, because Dzemp is the one who has the story to tell here. Not that Measim and B-Man aren't amazing.
Right, it is Zemp's story to tell. But he's got to beat Apooche. He's going to have to do it off camera.
Okay.
I know.
Some traditions are sacred.
Some traditions matter. We cast the final. Well, Apooche has started out with an aggro formation with tarantulas and marksman on the left. Dzemp has started with the deep steel balls, so we will keep you updated on that game as this one progresses. They are both asymmetrical on the same side. Dzemp is a saber-tooth specialist, so you're going to get some entertaining... Yeah, it's a headbutt on Apooche's left, Zemp's right.
Wow, so I haven't seen a headbutt in so long. Like a real headbutt. Usually it's somehow they always seem to line up opposite each other. Right.
I mean, we saw a beautiful headbutt in the European where Apooche read Woot's tendencies and headbutted him on purpose. Beautifully en route to tournament title.
I missed that one though.
Mm-hmm. All right, welcome to round 6 of Weekend Tournament America's number 71. Measim and B-Man head-to-head in the match that is either the semifinal or the final, depending on the outcome of Apooche versus Dzemp, happening concurrently. We'll be keeping you updated on that game as this one goes. Measim, near side blue, a marksman specialist with a triple marksman start, so going to add the level 3 marksman to a board that already has 3 marksmen. We know Measim runs the carry mark techs, including the quick reload that I actually like, very few of the other top players like, so it always warms my heart to see Measim running it. B-Man...
I love that. Just can't squeeze it in the bar.
Exactly. B-Man, saber-tooth specialist with the arc lights and stormcallers. And, you know, honestly, I'm going to say that is a sign of a well-designed game. It should not be that there are 4 automatic choices for any unit.
There shouldn't be correct answers.
Yeah, there needs to not be correct answers. And anything that is... I would say any tech that is on like 80+% of the player's bars is an overtuned tech. And
I would say that the rare exception to that is something like range, which is deliberately ubiquitous and exists for when you take it to do something specific. There are times range doesn't help you.
And times range can hurt you. Right?
Yes. So I think that's probably one of the rare exceptions where it should always be an option on your toolbar, but not because it's always the best tech categorically.
Right. But
if it's because...
And if it's on 100% of players' toolbars, then it's too cheap.
Maybe.
Right? Like if it's legitimately on everybody's toolbar. Yeah, range would be the standard for standard games, but, you know, if we've got this game really well balanced, you'd have units for different niches, and you'd be building your unit tech compositions to allow 2 different units that look similar to the average player to fill 2 different niches in your board, one for standard, one for aggro, for example, or one for standard be standard and one for one for defense.
We have Orange Man and Sabretooth coming down catty corner to each other. Measim put down Orange Man and his Fire Badgers on the same side so they can protect each other.
Right, I like that a lot.
Picking a side that's strong and doesn't leave you vulnerable, because the worst would be if the Fire Badgers went into the Saber without Orange Man back up.
Right, and he intentionally strengthens his weaker side, kind of maybe predicting that B-Man is going to strengthen what was Measim's strong side. So if Measim's strong side is still strong enough to win the round, the addition of the storms, great. If not, he's going to push through and get tower on the other side, and then come over and help.
Well, and storms make a good put it on the side you're not certain you will win with pushing, because the more your enemy walks into you, the time they spend moving is time they don't spend shooting.
Spicy. Measim takes Assault Stormcaller, 350% hit point buff, movement speed increased by 5, range decreased by 40. B-Man takes the much more conservative portable shield. So Measim is likely...
Was that a misclick?
No, this is intentional. This is one of the game developers wanting to show off a way to use a tech that he's heard people say is bad. He wants to show us how strong it can be. So,
well, I hope that his showcase is compelling, because I am...
Everybody is unconvinced. Stormcaller...
I've actually used it exactly once in a relevant situation, and that was in a sparring match you and I did. But...
So, each of these level 2 storms on the far outside has 10,000 hit points. That pack alone is a giant at 40,000 hit points.
Sure.
He's got 2 more of them. They are fast enough that wherever the rest of the line is going to go, those storms will keep up with them. Interestingly, the Fire Badger's at 10 meters per second, the storm's at 11 meters per second, so they'll actually be close fire support for those Fire Badgers.
Right, and the Fire Badgers will keep whatever is up close off their back.
Right, and then you get the sledges right out in front of them. What he's... I don't know, like, you have to commit to these and throw down more techs, right? To really get anything out of them.
Probably. It's tough, because at a certain point, like, you lose to the other side's Stormcallers. And that's the real risk, is in the Storm Mirror, which a standard range war often turns into, the speed won't be made up for, because they're going to be fighting and dying anyway at range. We have a lot of Stormcallers on the map, and something tells me there will be many more.
We get an Ion Beam from Measim.
Getting another one of them. Interesting. Range Scorpion matches Stormcaller without range now, and still one-taps them like a pack of medium units.
Wait. It does not one-tap the level 2, though. Legitimately, they do 10,000 damage, 10,047, while the Stormcaller has 10,000 to 341. So the level 2 Stormcaller can actually tank a hit from a Scorpion. Those seem a little bit wrong.
I mean, I'm okay with that, because, I mean, that tankiness is being paid for, shall we say.
Right. I mean, I like the idea of Assault Stormcaller. I kind of want it to be like a, here's the card that gives them some speed and a faster reload rate or something.
I don't want to increase the reload speed of Stormcallers. I'll just be on record.
Like
that sounds scary.
Speed and shorter range, but you get faster reload. Doesn't have
that
it,
would
maybe?
still stack
like
with Assault, because that would still stack with Launcher Overload, and then you're getting, like...
Exactly. But then you have this very narrow effective range, right?
Yikes.
So now you have that
That's
narrow
scary.
effective range, but it's super effective in it. How do you make it work? Okay. Vulcan drop for Measim. So it's looking like Vulcan Storm standard. I mean, this is standard marksman Vulcan Storm positioning with Assault Stormcaller.
Right. Kind of a tanky medium unit tier Stormcaller instead of a range war Stormcaller. I like the commit to Scorpion here, though. It's very rare that I feel that way, because I usually think that it's a missed opportunity to invest in a kind of better unit overall, but I think there's a lot of unique moments. Also, okay, he did take the damage buff, by the way, which means that the level 1 Scorpion can kill the level 2 Storm.
Yes.
And I was wondering if he would do that, because there were moments where there was like a fraction of a health bar left on the Stormcallers.
Right. Are we going to level those storms again? Get them to level 3 and put an absorption module on them?
Wow, you are cooking over there. I would love that.
I'm Titan. I might have been looking at Mechabellum for 16 hours today, consecutively.
Right.
And not taking dinner. I might be looking a little too hard now.
You know, at least it's spicy.
It would be very spicy.
Nothing bland.
Exactly. Okay.
I want to see levels on these Scorpions now, because the tankiness matters, and the ability to connect matters. I almost want to see Siege mode, but he's not running it.
It's not on the bar. Can't get any more range
I actually
than
added
this.
Siege mode back on.
I just took it off.
Wow.
I had been running it for a little bit, and I never did take it. So, okay.
That level 5 Rhino has 150,000 HP,
Both
and
of them
will still get in.
Yeah, both of them took it, right? But this one is Measim sold, and B-Man committed to it with attack, bumping it up to all the hit points. For Measim,
Now the real question:
range.
If that Rhino gets hit by an EMP rocket, that's going to be so sad, because it'll be slowed and it'll lose all the bonus health. But if it doesn't get hit by a rocket, that's going to be huge.
The Vulcan got range, so it's got 135 meters. The Stormcallers have 140 meters, drop EMP. The Marksmen drop 180 meters now. So a whole bunch of range.
A whole bunch of range changes.
Yeah, a whole bunch of range changes. I mean, the Marksmen are new anyways. Well, sorry, the Vulcan in the middle is new. There's a whole lot of oil on the ground getting lit on fire. And we can't seem to hit that. Rhino there. It gets hit and slowed down. And the marksmen are starting to scale. I don't mean to scare you, but they are all level 2 or level 3.
And the real question at the end of the day becomes: if in because of or in spite of Assault Storms? And you have to retest every round on the replay, with and without, to be able to...
No, I'm going to bed. You can do that and report to me in the morning.
The hypothetical curious campaign.
Got it. I will leave that exercise to the student.
There's EMP storms. Notably, though, the assault
from the opposite side,
on the storms is not going to be EMP'd away because it's a card.
It can't get disabled, right? Elite marksman on the hyperscaling marksman, so they are 3, 4, 4, and 3 now.
Here's where, because he doesn't have siege, he can't protect his scorpions.
Right.
And those marksmen will get close to, like, one-tapping a scorpion.
Right. Breaking news from the other match. Dzemp is through. We will have a 7th and final match of this tournament, pitting Dzemp against the winner of this one, folks. Dzemp beats Apooche in 6 rounds to ensure that there will be that this match is now a semifinal. And beating Apooche that quickly, that's pretty darn impressive, Dzemp.
Mm-hmm.
Mobile beacon, as though Measim were going to do anything to explicitly counter that Rhino. There is no explicit counter.
Yes, but he's also putting it where it's not near anything else, so it's a lot harder to get the EMP on it.
Right. It doesn't get targeted by everything, but it also arrives so late that it gets targeted while punching.
Marksmen are the problem, and they all leveled again.
They have scaled, and scaled again, and part of that is, at the end of the round, it takes forever to get through the Stormcallers. And those marksmen are sitting behind the Stormcallers and not dying.
Also a huge chunk of experience for whatever kills it.
The Stormcallers, you mean?
No, sorry, the Rhino is a good source of experience for whatever kills it.
And contributing damage to anybody that added the contributing damage.
Right, which means every marksman gets a shot off, and is then getting a huge chunk of their level off of him.
Right.
Double Wraith Flank.
Double Wraith Flank from Measim. Double Sandworm with Replicate for B-Man. Both of these players are cooking hard right now. I guess thought I was cooking. Look at this. Look at this. Measim is in kind of what we said from the beginning was going to be the build, the full width range elite marksman build.
I think that these sandworms get absolutely popped by the marksman.
Right.
And it's funny, I was just thinking the only thing that I'm sad about these marksmen is that there's only 4 of them. And then you recruited 3 more.
Right. Here you go. I got your back, Titan.
Measim's in a really strong position here, I think.
Right. With or without the Wraith flank, but there's just not much back there that's going to touch those Wraiths.
The question is, did that marksman go down?
Don't think this half pack of fangs is going to do it.
That marksman didn't die, though. And that makes a difference, because... Oh, he doesn't have the elite tech.
And they're level 2 Wraiths. A thump,
yes,
tower down. Measim, I cannot see any way that he doesn't survive this with 1,700 hit points of damage to deal.
This is going to be GG.
Yep. Very, very nicely done from Measim, and showing a version of what Assault Stormcaller can do. A lot of the top players would have said, this board just looks like a loser. Right? Why do you have Assault? What role is the Assault Stormcaller serving here? And it is explicitly to tank for the marksman, to allow the marksman to scale faster when they don't have smart marksmen available. They don't level up super quickly. They needed to be the unit that outlasts the storms and deals that late damage. We've talked about it, where Stormcaller does steal a bunch of experience from other units, but by having them further forward, letting them tank, letting them die, that late kill experience that is usually on high value targets, right? Got fed into the marksman and helped the marksman level. It's a build that I had never seen. Just running a very standard Vulcan marksman and Stormcaller, but with assault mode Stormcaller, and not even trying to counteract it with range. No, I'll just leave them out in front. It's fine with me. Really an interesting build from Measim. Puts him through to the final, where he will face Dzemp They'll try to gatekeep Dzemp and keep Dzemp out of the Launch Clash tournament.
At least to free qualify.
At least to pre-qualify. I'm not going to let this be easy for you. Now, I do have to point out, you might be sitting there and wondering, well, why Measim's the dev, right? Why would he put all of his effort into denying somebody a advance out of this tournament, through the pre-qualifying through this tournament? Well, you know how there are 8 slots for the tournament winners? Yeah, if the devs can keep you guys from winning those, they get to give them out. They revert back over to an
Really?
invitational slot. They're heading back on over to Green River for them to hand out those invitations. So there could be some late invitees if these tournament slots aren't won. They don't go into the qualifying tournament, they go back over to Green River. Let me give a shout out while we are here on the moment. Thank you to those of you who have supported us all along the way. I think Just Nash XYZ and Blue Feral are the 2 very, very early supporters. Salt Monkey is Zach, and Mr. John Thursday responsible for some of the equipment upgrades. Xfire X has been solid throughout. Ocelotus Gaming, Toast94, and Yeswinbig, the recent big name sponsors. And of course, big thank you to the mods. Zalex has been here almost all day long. Zach, of course, you heard co-cast us with the European tourney, Alpha Titan, who's here in the booth with me, and Cody, Wolf Factory, Decaf, Ocelotus Gaming, and the OG mod and founder of the Mechabellum Guild, co-founder with yours truly, Ghosters Supreme. Thank you guys so much for everything you do. And of course, as always, thank you to the Real Star Kiddo. Whew. It's been a long day. It comes down to one more match. Let's go. I am pumped. I'm as excited for this as I was at 4:45 in the morning to get up for the Asia and co-cast that one with Rooster. I'm pumped to see if Dzemp can pull this off and achieve the dream story.
Would be a little heartbreaking for him to lose this one, not gonna lie.
Right. Let's set the stage. Welcome to the final of Weekend Tournament Americas number 71. Dzemp has come through. Codafly, who was one of the other players with a chance to qualify for the Mechabellum Launch Clash, came through double tournament winner Doxson, came through double tournament winner Apooche, who are both already pre-qualified for the Launch Clash. To earn his spot in the $1,000 prize purse tournament, Dzemp has to beat the game dev himself, the one, the only Measim. Dzemp, near side in blue, fortified specialist, sledgehammer, arclight, standard positioning. Picks up a pair of crawlers.
I feel like we've seen this before.
I think they're going to be right behind the tower, just like that.
Wow.
Measim, far side supply specialist, has the vertical storm callers and a triple crawler pack, adds 2 arclights to clear the crawlers. Standard v standard so far. Lots of respect between these two, and of course, at stake. If Dzemp wins it, he is in the final 32 for the $500 first place prize. Measim's stake. If he wins this, he's preserving a spot in that final 32 for Green River to give out to one of the 201 guests, sponsors, or supporting casters. Does this match not harken back to the Dev Pro tourney? Sir Cott, you are correct. These two did face each other in the Dev Pro tourney, where Dzemp won on his way to winning that tournament outright. I did debate as, one of the tournament organizers, I debated hard as to whether to say, hey, if these weekend tournaments don't result in a qualifier, then we'll give the awards to the Dev Pro tourney winner and the DreamHack tourney winner. But I felt like that was kind of retconning things a little bit too much. So left them completely open. They will be at Bearlike and Measim's discretion if they can protect them, if Measim can play spoiler. Not just here, but all the way through week 72 and all the way through week 73.
Early Scorpion.
Double Scorp for Measim on round 2. Level 2 Phoenix for Dzemp, almost the perfect counter to it. Of course, these are the units from drop, right? So
Right.
Measim takes the one Scorpion, buys the other, has enough money to buy a chaff unit if he so desired.
Because he was supplied, he had his 50 from round 1 and 2.
And added the Fangs over here to be kind of late. They are perfectly positioned to intercept the Phoenix, just sitting there playing tank chaff roll after chaff roll here. Eventually they go down. They're not going to kill the Phoenix. Dzemp will win by air in round 2. It's going to put Measim on 3360 hit points, Dzemp 5100. Take it away, Alpha. You got this.
So, I'm not a huge fan of dropping a second early Scorpion like that. I think that it's a lot of credits into a unit that you probably don't want to commit to. Scorpions are great early, and they're great super late. But they kind of fall off medium. And in a range war like this, when you don't run Siege, I think that they are a bit of a liability in the sense that far back they can't really tank very well. And they're going to die to other single target removal giants. So it'll be interesting to see how Dzemp punishes that, but I think that's going to be the first of the major decisions, was the second Scorpion, and then Dzemp's Scorpion answer.
Dzemp's round 3 reinforcement is the efficient tech research. He's not in a position to research techs yet. Measim took subsidized Arclight, adds 2 new 50 cost Arclights on the outside, and a Phoenix up top at 200. And of course, we talked about this earlier, the subsidized Arclights will sell for 50, the not subsidized Arclight will sell for 100. There's no actual difference in their on-field performance if they're the same level, but the game does remember their original purchase price, and you get that back if you sell out of it. With the addition of the 2 Phoenix on the left side, well, Measim's right, Dzemp's left, Measim wins by air. Dzemp down to 4,700 hit points. We go to round 4.
Super fast skips from them both.
Yeah, I do feel like we might be slightly behind. And the game is hurrying us up a little bit. We get a pair...
Interesting to see a Phoenix.
Yeah. Pair of Phoenix for Dzemp. Another Phoenix for Measim. Extra Arclight, and he had floated so much last round with the subsidized Arclight buys, has the 300s to take ranged on Arcs, and level up both Scorpions. For Dzemp,
I really like the extra
range on Phoenix. Go ahead.
I really like the extra Phoenix here, because when you see Arclights getting massed, and you know that there's a Scorpion ground investment, Phoenix are a fantastic option, because it's very expensive for your opponent to go Scorpions and Fortress at the same time. They are very redundant, and as a result, you're not afraid of the Fort AA. And so it really invites you to win the air war with your own Phoenix.
Right.
So Dzemp is put in. I think Dzemp has a great overall read on the position. I like his long-term prospects in this match.
And Dzemp's Phoenix techs are range, elite marksman, charge, EMP and shield. So none of the, doesn't run charged shot, doesn't run launcher overload or rapid reload, as it's called.
Right.
Farseer for both players. Rutrow. What is the dev cooking with Farseers? Well, they are ranged, and I have 3 of them.
There's the range on his own arcs.
Dzemp matches the Arclight range. Has sold out of this one, note, which looks awfully Vulcan positioning. Dzemp-esque to me.
Yeah. I think Dzemp sells this Farseer next round.
Right. Takes a look at this. Says it's Dzemp is already, Measim is already committed to the Farseers with range. I don't need to get into a Farseer mirror. I can play this out with the Phoenix.
I also really think that the Dzemp. Did I already say this? But Dzemp isn't running the spread formation on his crawlers.
That is, yeah. You mentioned that in a previous game. You have not mentioned that on this match.
So
anybody
that
tuning
tech,
in?
I think, incredibly powerful, and the fact that he doesn't have it on the bar is a sad thing because I think this game would scream for it.
Right. It's very good into the Arclights. It's very good into the Farseers. And if Dzemp was saying this patch doesn't suit me, I actually wonder if not running launcher or not running spread formation, loose formation, might be part of why the patch isn't suiting him. Just having one tech off can really affect. Yeah. Dzemp takes the smoke. Measim took the Amp Core. Amp Core goes onto the already teched level 3 Farseer. This thing is now a DPS beast, firing 2 missiles doing 5,100 damage every 1.6 seconds. Quick, somebody do the math for me. I think officially it's a lot for a 300 cost unit.
That's roughly speaking about 8,000 DPS. That's a level 3 unit that costs 300 with an item.
Yeah.
So DPS-wise, it's not efficient relative to cost.
Right.
But it is compact.
It's in the right spot. It's compact, and we talked about this a little bit. Measim is going to do a whole lot of hit point damage on the bar if those Farseers survive. If he was winning rounds with them from long range, they're going to be, every surviving Farseer is 300 hit points on the bar. 3 of them's suddenly 900 hit points, and a game can turn really, really quickly.
Yeah.
That said, he needs to win rounds with them, and he's not doing it. Phoenix
I think the Phoenix are running away with the game.
Phoenix are scaling. They have 170 meter range now that they have elite marksmen. They're doing extra damage. They're going to outrange these Farseers as soon as they have another level or 2. The Farseers can hang on a little bit longer because he does run search radar to add 10 meters. But Dzemp, putting the hammer down, drops Measim to 1,960 hit points.
This pivots back to round 2 when it was Scorpion versus Phoenix on the drop.
Right. And Measim did chase with some Phoenix of his own, but they're nowhere near as... the level 2 drop is now a level 4 Phoenix, with 2 more at level 3, and adding some level 1s. Last round, they haven't leveled yet. They'll get there. They'll catch up.
Anti-missile. Okay. And Wasp. So this is the pivot round from Measim.
Right, and it's AMD.
This is him answering storms, and giving the intercept for the storm callers on the opposing side.
Right. And anti-missile on the Farseer, some people think of it as inefficient. I've actually thought it's been pretty efficient when I've used it. The problem is that he's going to be leaving these Scorpions out underneath the... Well, he's sold out of the one Scorpion already, so he's pivoting completely off the Scorpions. That one's going to be exposed, but these guys will have 148 meter range. These guys will have 180, so the Arclights will be fighting from under the anti-missile coverage.
Right. The interesting thing here as well is anti-missile on bodies like Saber and Farseer are capable of mitigating storm damage, but not storm fire on the ground as well.
Right.
At least not as much. Although 3 of them, it took about 10 seconds.
Yeah, it took a while to break through that on the right.
Although it does have 3 versus 2. Right now it's definitely the Wasps that are doing the heavy hitting for Measim by just eating every Phoenix shot for days.
Yeah, they're taking shot after shot after shot. They've got shield. Phoenix don't have rapid reload. This is one of the reasons you would want rapid reload on the bar, to get yourself out of a situation like this. Obviously, you're going to go to something like Mustang as your Wasp answer, but
Right, and these wasps already have their shield, so it's not like they can be doubled.
Right.
This is the full impact of the wasp on display.
Measim wins the round, drops Dzemp to 4,000 hit points, picks up a nuke. Nuke for both players. That nuke is aimed pretty much directly at where this level 4 Phoenix fights from. It's going to be in there with no real way out unless it gets mobile beaconed. This one is aimed, obviously, at the level 3 Farseer. A level could get that Farseer up to level 4 and put it above 70,000 hit points. If you don't know, a nuke does exactly 70,000 damage, so that's a great point for Measim to be thinking about.
Jab also does that, for those who don't know. It's kind of the survive the spell's hit point threshold. Interesting, the Phoenix Shield is going to give them a second life so they can get hit.
I can
Still
tank.
no proper Wasp answer, but you can tank getting hit by the nuke. Shield still.
Right. And there is a proper Wasp answer, the Mustangs with range. Of course, these guys will be in that boom zone.
I was zoomed in just enough that I didn't see those.
Yes, the little bit of this metallic scaffolding still remains in the way. I'd love to see that removed. At least from this behind the stadium view.
Right.
Put it off on the corners. Like, just rotate it 45 degrees. Boom! The nukes take out some of the units under there, but as we talked about, the shield on the Phoenix keeps the critical Phoenix alive, and yeah, they're just going to win hard on that side, especially without the DPS coming off of that level 3 Farseer that was not leveled up.
I know that a lot of people in the community complain, and to some extent fair enough, about the Stormcallers and the struggle that they can provide. Going air is still by far and away my favorite counter to storms.
Yep, it's the get yourself off the ground. If you're letting the Stormcallers light you on fire and burn your entire army, it's because you don't have air. You'll get yourself some air support.
Right. There's a lot of levels on these birds this round. He doubled the number of birds he had over the last 2 rounds, and just about everything leveled this round. With temp range, this is now starting to get really scary.
I don't think a single bird didn't level. I just watched them all ripple level.
I think one of the red ones was already red, but other than that, yeah. Either way, yeah, like those were Phoenix levels, and those Phoenix levels mean that it's more range, more damage, and more scaling.
Titan is spot on correct. Exactly one of them was already level 4 and didn't reach level 5. The man knows his game. If you've ever wondered. Has
Ion Storm makes great sense for both.
Yeah, has Dzemp hit Wasp and Farseer with this Ion Beam? That is the spot my eye is going to be. Did he place this perfectly? It is one of the things to learn, right? Is exactly how far a unit's going to move. Be able to read the board and put it, like, just say, this is where it's going to be. And then the other question is, will Measim change that equation by giving them high mobility to try and get them through that space? He hasn't done it.
Right.
Dzemp has 50 left and could do it himself. Neither of them did. So one of my favorite tricks when I know there's some Ion Beam on offer is to hit the speed button.
By the way, the mobile beacon pulled everything, and oh my gosh, Measim's Ion Beam was nasty.
Yes, and Dzemp's missed some key units over there. Missed the pack of wasps. Left the level 3, I think it's now level 4. Farseer, yep. Left it alive.
Measim mobile beacon crawlers, and that Ion Beam followed every area that diagonally chase.
Right. So
that was a masterful Ion Beam.
Yep, that was brilliant. The combination of the mobile beacon and the Ion, and knowing exactly where he was going to lead them into.
I think that crawler was added so he could mobile beacon, not to track the storms, but to generate the Ion Beam effect.
The crawler had been there before. That wasn't added that round.
Okay, then that was me not noticing then.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, it's tough. We're zoomed so far out because we have to be, because
Right.
if I'm zoomed in any further, we're gonna miss important things like, wasps on the back line or mustangs on the back line. Dzemp adding a pair of anti-missile war factories. AMD on the war factory, one of the most.
Wow.
I'm sorry, three anti-missile war factories. Dzemp, I apologize. That should be the finish. It's going to keep the fire off the ground. It's really going to shut down the
Yes. Well, that's powerful because
Farseer.
Look at Measim's board. There is nothing that, like, his marksmen don't have elite. They have anti-air. I mean, War Factory is really powerful, but it is a single unit, which means if you have really good single target removal, like beams, then you can really punish a War Factory that has no chaff. But if you look at Measim's board specifically, he doesn't have DPS that can kill a War Factory. His wasps don't have ground spec. His marksmen don't have elite. And Farseers, not only are they missiles for damage, but they also aren't great DPS units.
Right.
So with no EMP to ever turn this intercept off, the War Factories can just shoot and shoot, as well as intercept. And he was already mostly winning just off the backs of his Phoenix.
Right.
And now that he has tanks, even if the War Factories die, he's got well more than enough on the back line to win this. And just an absolutely total, your board doesn't answer this, and I'm going to show you that.
Right.
Like round 10 is.
Let us find out if Dzemp has just booked his place in the Mechabellum Launch Clash tournament with a triple War Factory buy. Punching through where he's losing the one on the far right, not losing the ones on the far left. It has gone down over here, but the other two are alive. One more is going to go down here facing that level 4 Farseer once it started to punch through the anti-missile device. But what have they done? They have bought enough time for these carry Phoenix triple tacked to punch through, do the damage, get the job done, and congratulations. Dzemp shows up in chat to say, well now, see you at the finals of the big tournament. Fantastic board read, man. Well done. Brilliant. Congratulations to Dzemp, your tournament champion. Beats, along the way, beats fellow aspirant Codifly, beats former back-to-back weekend winner Doxson, multiple-time back-to-back weekend winner Apooche, beats the dev himself, Measim. That is a final.
Yeah. And everyone should be happy that Dzemp qualified, because then Zemp's not going to be in the qualifiers.
Yes, the entirety of the community is probably celebrating this. Dzemp books his place 7-0. What a run. Very nicely done. B-Man second, Doxson third. Congratulations to all three of you. Measim fourth, Zillilag a top 5 finish. Well done. Ryder Live, look at you. 6th place, nice. Cheeseburglar, Tui Smart, Mel Vortex had a big round 2 upset over Sunnyside. Lost to Rice, who's a really top player, but rode it to a top 10 finish. Very nice from Mel Vortex. Sugar Shane and Harry, top 10 finish. Nicely done. We will take a look at 11 through 20. For those of you getting your names in lights, congratulations. For those of you further down the table, congrats if this is your top finish ever. We'll spare the blushes of those of you even further down.
I know that this game has so many great players that to truly pick a exclusive best of the best. Honestly, I think stylistically, if I could pick a player to mentor under Dzemp, would probably be one of my first choices, because the way he plays the game is the way that I see myself wanting to play the game.
Right.
And just fantastic at the game.
And Dzemp did show up in chat after the Asia tournament this morning to say, hey, I don't feel like this patch is suiting me. And so to be able to turn around and run off 7 straight wins against this quality of opposition, right? This is just an amazing list of opponents. So to be able to turn around and do that when the game mode, the newest set of patches and balance changes doesn't suit his style of play, like that really does speak to the quality of the player.
Mm-hmm.